What would you say you do here?
It's the Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast. A podcast dedicated to up-and-coming bands, labels, artists, and more. Plug in and join your host, Brad Nunnery, as he dives deep into what the future of music has to hold and discover something new along the way. What else do you have to do?
Hey, what's up? This is Trev from A Wilhelm Scream. You're listening to Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast.
That's the latest music video from our good friends in A Wilhelm Scream. The song is called Fell Off. Many thanks to Trevor for recording that promo for us. Really do appreciate it, man. Now you can find that song off their brand new album. It's called Cheap Heat. It's out now via Creator Destructor Records. But if you want to find out more about that record and more about A Wilhelm Scream and what they're up to right now, you can check out episode 2 of the Home of the Underground podcast here on YouTube. All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Brad Nunnery. Welcome to Signal Chords, Home of the Underground podcast. Season 4, Episode 6, presented by my really good friend Jeff Small over at 1603 Designs. My guests tonight are a really killer punk rock band based out of Chicago, Illinois. They are called Horace Pinker, a band that's been around since the early 90s, and they've put out a slew of records over that time, but the band just recently put out a split EP with the Raging Nathan, so we're going to talk to the band all about those couple tracks there, as well as their 2025 release, Now in the Future. We're going to talk about that record, as well as some tours coming up along the way, as right now they're touring with Celebration Summer, as well as heading overseas here in about a month or so to support Pulley on some shows and some days. So we're going to talk to the guys all about everything Horace Pinker. So right now, let's get into their music video from a song off Now in the Future. It's called 3 Against Me. It's on Signal Chords, Home of the Underground podcast.
This is a
Greg, Brian, Scott, Don from Horace Pinker. Man, so great to finally meet you guys and get this podcast going. I know there's been some scheduling conflicts between myself and you guys as well. You guys are busy as hell. I'm busy as hell as well. But thank you so much for joining the podcast. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Ford, you good?
I am good.
All right, Ford's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So before we started recording, Brian tells me that his son Ford is their tech. So he's teaching him young, and that's how it should be. So he'll add in some what's that?
Yeah, he just got finished doing the tour with Raging Nathans with us. So
Oh, did he? Yeah, nice. You bring him on tour and all that kind of stuff, and setting up the drums and get him all like guitar teching and all that good stuff.
that's right. We took him on tour. He was hanging out with Josh from the Smoking Popes last weekend or the weekend before last.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you're lucky. You're a lucky kid. Not every kid gets to hang out with some legendary bands and all that kind of stuff. So man, you're gonna love it. But yeah, no, I have a daughter as well. She's 13 and loves Sublime and loves all this crazy stuff that I'm into. And I've never even taught her like to listen to these bands. And she's super stoked that Sublime has a new album coming out on Friday, and she keeps hounding me on it. So it's cool. Like we share music back and forth, and she loves like Rammstein and stuff. I'm like, how you're 13 years old?
Sublime,
It's so crazy.
Yeah, Sublime and Rammstein. Wow. That's
Yeah. She's Typo Negative, and then she loves System of a Down and Korn and all that new metal stuff. And I'm like, who are you? Like, oh yeah, you're my kid. She looks exactly like me. She's tall and lanky and all that kind of crap. And she loves all the crap that I listened to, when I was in my 20s. But it's really cool to see, your kids and being able to have your kids at your shows and do things. And I'm sure that's a really cool feeling. So more power to you, Ford.
It only took me 3 kids to find one that actually cared about the music. So,
Well, at least you got one. Yeah, the other two that I have, yeah, they're in the waitings for sure. But no, I'm super stoked because the first thing I want to kind of just talk about, and it was I don't know if it's recent or whatnot, but it's personal to me because you guys are playing pre-fest show here in Orlando at Will's Pub, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person in October. Really super stoked about that, and you guys are playing fest as well. What do you guys? When was the last time you guys were in Florida and played a gig in Florida? Just curious.
we did the same thing last year. We did both.
Did you?
Yeah, we did both of the pre-fest shows in Orlando and Gainesville, and then we played fest. So,
okay.
This is just a repeat. So
Yeah.
where were you?
No,
at?
it's funny. I was I don't think I went last year. I think I went the year before. I couldn't make it to because we always have a vacation around like a family vacation around that time. I don't think I could I made it last year, but it was the year that like Rat Owl played, John Snodgrass played, I forget who the headliner was, not Dashboard Confessional, but I can't remember who it was. Might have been Dashboard.
Well, Snodgrass played with his Who's Good band last year.
Yeah, and then
He played here in Chicago a couple nights ago, but before that, before last year, we hadn't really been to Florida since like 2012. So you're
wow,
it's been a minute. We played Fest in 2012.
Okay, and how many times have you guys played Fest like in total?
That's
twice.
Yeah. So this year will be 3.
This will be 3.
Oh, nice. No, I'm super excited to see you guys at Will's. I'm gonna try to, and I tell all these bands that I interview that I try to make it to Fest every year. It's only an hour and a half away. Gainesville is from Orlando. I mean, it's a short drive, but at the same time, it's always around Halloween. When you have 3 kids and your wife makes all the costumes, you kind of have to be that go boy, like have to go out and get all the stuff, and it's like this huge process kind of a deal. And so it's always falls on the weekend that we have to do all the costumes. And I'm like, I hate, to be a father, it's all good and it's all great, but like I always miss out on Fest. But I might be at Fest this year, and to be determined. There's some things I'm working on as far as other things. So hopefully I can see you guys out there as well. But I love Gainesville. I love that whole Fest scene, all that kind of stuff. What do you guys enjoy most about Fest and playing it? I know it's a huge, 500 bands, it seems like, that are playing. What do you guys look forward to and playing every year?
I think out of all of us, Greg was the first person to play Fest.
Yeah. I played with another band. I think 07 was the first time I played it. I like the fact that it's not set up like Riot Fest or Lollapalooza, where there's just these big stages and there's hundreds of thousands of people all in one park. Like, I like going to different venues. I like the fact that if you don't pay attention, you could not get into a show because it's sold out. Like, it kind of makes it, you know, more of a game in a way. But I also just like the fact that, and going back to that though, there's so many good bands that you discover so much cool stuff. If you do miss getting into one of the bigger shows, just go to a smaller one. You're like, damn, how come I never heard of this band? It's a lot of fun like that. I like, it's more like, I think South by Southwest is similar. Yeah. We're in different venues versus just a big park.
And I think we run into people all over the world, man. Like, when we play there, we see people from Australia, from Europe. Like, it's awesome. Like, people we've stayed with, we've played with. So that's what I like the best.
Yeah, when we played there last year, I don't know, was it before we played or after? This guy came up to us from Berlin, Germany, and he was like, "You guys slept on my couch, 20 years." Yeah. And we're like, "Oh, I remember the couch. I didn't remember him." Right. Couch.
Yeah. I remember him. He was super nice.
Yeah, super nice.
No, that is, that's a really good point, right? Like, you can turn around and see another band, like, because I know one of those things with those big huge festivals, like the turnaround time from the main stage to the second stage, you're like, okay, am I going to make it? So sometimes you have to watch half the set in order to get to the other band to see, kind of a deal. And I had a friend that went to Welcome to Rockville in Daytona, and they loved. I forget who was playing, like Bring Me the Horizon or whatever, but they had to cut it short because they wanted to go see Rise Against, because that was like their band. And they're like, we have to leave halfway through, because if we don't get over, we're not going to be able to see it. And that kind of, as big as those festivals are and as great as they are, it's you have to kind of compromise to where it's like, all right, well, I got to cut this set in half and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. If you miss the big bands or whatever in the big venues, you go and see a band that you haven't seen before, and and it's really cool that way. And it seems like a really cool vibe up there in Gainesville. And I've been up there a whole bunch of times. My friend's from Gainesville, and he tells me all about it all the time. But it is one of those things where you definitely don't have a limit on who you can see and what you can do up there. You know what I mean? And everybody's in the same industry and having a good time.
Yeah. It's just that everybody. It's just really low key, and everybody's cool, and yeah, like you said, just having a good time. So yeah, people are there for the music. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Orlando, and hopefully in Gainesville as well.
We got a new guest here.
Uh-oh. Who's that?
Duke.
Oh, Duke. All right. What's up, Duke? All right, special appearance. Nice. All right, so let's talk about let's talk about the new music you have with the split with the Raging Nathans. I love Redeemer in Another Way. Those are some two equally separate songs in their own way. With Another Way being a little bit more that skate punk kind of style, but with Redeemer, it's that almost alternative punk kind of stuff, which I really like, really dig and love, like the hot water music kind of vibe to it. Was that kind of self-consciously, kind of like separating the two songs kind of a deal? Or where these songs come from? Were they already written from a while ago that you just, wanted to add to the split with the Raging Nathans? Or how those two songs come and to be a part of that split?
Well, we played with the Raging Nathans at the Pre-Fest in Orlando last year. And we got along great, and we're talking to Josh, and a few weeks later, Josh is like, "Hey, let's do a split 7-inch," and then we're like, awesome. "Let's do a split 7-inch with everybody," but we still felt special in our own way. And he's like, "I got 2 songs," so he sent us their songs, and we're like, "Oh, these are pretty good."
Yeah.
So
they were really good.
Yeah, I mean they're great songs.
Yeah, they're great songs. Yeah.
And we're like, we gotta
step it up.
Yeah, we gotta step it up. We just booked time in the studio with Dan Precision here in Chicago.
Dan from Rise Against.
Yeah.
Formerly of Rise Against, yeah.
No, we just went into our practice space, went into writing mode, and we just banged those out. And we were like, we gotta, we can't just write a nice, sweet love song,
no ballads.
Yeah, and the Devil's Watch. That's the other Nathan song. That was originally the, you know. Sorry, Ford. It was the Devil's Cock, and I'm like, oh, that's an awesome song, man. So
Yeah,
inspired us, and we played them for Dan, and we're like, Dan, we got to write some really good songs, and those came out, and we were really happy with them. You know, they're very different, but
yeah.
And we, you know, sent them to Josh a month later. He's like, how'd you do that? We're like, you know, we're ready, man. We're in.
Those two songs, and you know, and now in the future, that album's really great too, you know. And it's funny because I look when I was researching your back catalog, I hadn't realized. I know you guys had been around since the 90s and all that kind of stuff, because I had heard of you ever since. Like Horace Pinker, you never forget that name. It's such a unique name. Like I know that name, you know what I mean? I've heard it, you know. It's not like, you know, Blue or some weird random name, you know, whatever. You always remember Horace Pinker. At least I've always, in my brain, I've always heard of Horace Pinker. But like going back into your catalog, you guys have been going strong since, you know, pretty much the early 90s, mid 90s kind of stuff. And it's really cool to really revisit some of this albums. And I'm like, I know I've heard of you guys. And I'm like, oh, Power Tools, that was the record. All right, that was the record that I do remember. You know, with all the music that you guys have, you know, how do you guys you know, keep up, you know, as far as, you know, just keeping the music alive and wanting to continue over the amount of years? That's like 30 plus years now that you guys been kind of together. I know some of you guys have been in and out and all that kind of stuff, but 30 years is a huge accomplishment, especially in the punk rock scene. What has kept you guys going over the amount of years that you guys have been a band?
Just a glutton for punishment, I guess.
That's a good answer. Yeah, that's a good answer.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, Scott and I, you know, have been in it in the longest, but you know, shit, Don and Greg have been in the band since 2001. So it's like, you know, only 25 years. You know, Don,
I mean, that's still a huge feat. I mean, you might as well be. You know.
I mean, you know, Don took a little break for a while, but he's back. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Scott and I just, you know, we're just got nothing better to. We don't play golf, so
you too. I don't play golf either. Yeah.
So I just, you know, instead of going on golf trips with my buddies, I just go on tour and play punk rock shows. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's one of those things where you're getting older. It's, you know, you start families and you have Ford there, and you know, everybody has their own kind of priorities, and sometimes they shift, you know, over the years, and it's like, can we really do it? And for a band, you know, especially a punk band or a metal band, after all these years, you know, still be able to do it with the different, you know, circumstances in life. It's a testament, right, of your passion and love for it, right? So it has to be something that you love doing, correct?
Yeah, and you know, and we never got famous. We never made it big. We never had the pressure of having to do things, you know, that, you know, perhaps we didn't want to do, or you know, that wasn't right for the band. We just, I mean, everything we do is just because we want to do it. And so, and we go through, you know, it ebbs and flows. I mean, there's years where, you know, we don't really do much, and then I'd say, you know, the past couple of years, all of a sudden it's just like kicked into high gear. I mean, we were trying to get something done before COVID, and then COVID happened, and so that just kind of put the brakes on it. And then once we kind of came out of that, we've just been firing on all cylinders. So I don't know. Anybody else have a theory about why we still put up with each other and do this?
You know what? When I go to see a show and I see a band that's just, you know, firing on all cylinders, as it were, I mean, it's awesome. You know, I love seeing a band that I had never seen before, or hadn't heard before, and I, you know, we love getting out there and playing, and when we're like, you know, having a good time, it's can't beat it, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fun to be inspired by other bands, by newer bands, by older bands that are still doing it.
Yeah.
You know, Sam I Am are still out there playing. I love Sam I Am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're
You know, like Bouncing Souls, they're headlining fest. Like Bouncing Souls are awesome. We used to play with those guys in the early 90s. We used to play with those guys in basements and warehouses, and it's awesome. You know what? Like, I'd trade it for anything.
Yeah, but like Scott was saying, getting to play with younger bands and whatnot. We're leaving tomorrow morning to go on tour, so we're going to do 10 shows. It's like 10 shows in 11 days. We're doing an East Coast run with Celebration Summer and just a bunch of other bands that are just younger, up and come, newer bands that and so it's we're looking forward to it. It's going to be cool to play every night with these newer bands and make new friends, and
they probably feel like older bands because they've been doing it for 5-10 years. They're like, we're doing this forever. But we're playing with Earth. We're doing a bunch of shows with Earth, who are some of our old friends from the East Coast. They're awesome, and we're going to do some shows down closer to where you are with Late Bloomer, who are totally great. I really like them. I've never seen them, and Celebration Summer are amazing. So I mean, when I first heard Celebration Summer, I'm like, I can't wait to meet them. And we met them last year.
Yeah, they're a great band. I've helped them before, and one of the guys, and his name escapes me, but he was in the Navy too. So him and I go back and forth all the time about our Navy stories and stuff or whatever. I mean, he was an officer, but I was a shitty deckhand. So like our two worlds were like completely different, in our military career. But him and I, every Veterans Day, we reach out to each other and stuff. Celebration Summer's a really killer band, and seeing you guys on the bill with them, that's really kick ass, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures and all that kind of stuff. But with you guys, with the longevity and everything, 25 years, 30 years, whatever it is, you had to see some kind of landscape with the punk. Has the scene changed at all? I know it's changed in the aspect of streaming and all that kind of bullshit, not making as much money or whatever it is, and the high cost of touring and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like the scene in itself, you've probably seen all forms of different kind of changes, right? And over the 30 years, from 25 years ago to now, how do you see it? What's been the biggest change that you guys have seen over the numerous amount of years?
I want to hear from I think we need to hear from Don here too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yep. So my biggest change, I was just writing something. I volunteered to write for a Punk Rock Saves Lives book that's going to come out, which is really
awesome.
Excited about it. So I was just writing about this. So I've been thinking about it. But like Brian, there
you go.
He's the elder in the band. But when he and I were going to shows, like when we were young, I'm from the East Coast. Brian's from El Paso, more or less, Texas. But man, there are always thugs at the shows. There are always Nazi skinheads at the shows. Not a lot, and not every show. But I mean, sometimes they'd be outside, sometimes they'd be inside, sometimes they'd be trying to ruin everything. You just don't see that much anymore. Like the first time we toured Europe, we played in East Germany, and there were a bunch of Nazis. It was insane.
Really? Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Not Western. I mean, it was in the 90s, so it was after the wall fell. But you'd still see that. But I just don't. I go to a lot of shows. We were on tour and stuff. I don't see that kind of thing anymore, which is awesome. I think the scene's a little bit more inclusive now and like broader and what I love. I mean, not to just talk about the fest all the time, but like that there are festivals. There's Pouza Fest up in Montreal. There's other festivals in Canada. There's there's so many festivals in Europe, and there have been for a long time. But there's so many cool places for bands to play, like on bigger stages, that we didn't have back when we started out. So I think that's cool. I like that. It's actually bigger than it used to be. It got mainstream in the 90s and stuff, but still for smaller bands, underground bands, up and coming bands, I think that's great. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's
go.
I think it's a lot of people that are into punk are now they want to go back out and do stuff again. Maybe it's after the pandemic and people want to, like, live music kind of went big all around for that.
Yeah.
And the scene's always been there, but now it's got more festivals, and now younger people are starting to listen to punk again. So it's covering more bases, and it's and punk's always been open for everybody. So that's what's good, is it's just always going to be there no matter what.
What's really great, and you make a really good point about the Nazis and stuff. I lived out in LA for a couple of years back in the early 2000s, 99, 2000. I was living in Los Angeles, and my friend, he's the one that got me into punk. A Navy buddy of mine got me into punk back in the 90s and stuff. And we would, and when I moved out there after I graduated college, whatever, I went out there and we would go to all these punk shows, and I felt scared as shit going to these punk shows, because it was all the Mohawk dudes, whatever. And it's like stereotyping, the guy that's got a Mohawk, he's hard. But like, this was like hardcore shit. Like, I'm just a dude from Longwood, Florida, which is like a suburb of Orlando. You know what I mean? And I'm in the heart of LA, and I was just such a culture, kind of a thing. And there was a lot of fighting and a lot of crazy shit or whatever. But nowadays it's just like everybody, I went and saw Strung Out last year, just to make a point. Like, I was up front, right in front at Will's Pub, and I was right up front watching Strung Out, one of my favorite bands. And, I got knocked on my ass for the first time in like 20 years, like in the pit. And I wasn't even in the pit. I was just watching, and I got slapped in the head, and I fell down. And I swear to God, 20 people picked me up, and they said, "Are you all right? You're all right? You're right." And that shit never happened in the 90s. It's like you have to suck it up and get back up and figure it out. You know what I mean? It's like it's definitely a different scene as far as being in the crowd and watching the shows, for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, Dallas, back in the 80s, Dallas and Phoenix and LA. Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of shows when I was a kid back then, and it was pretty scary. There's been some pretty scary moments, but outside of the violent stuff, though, I think the biggest change, I think, is back in the when we started touring back in the early 90s, it was just a lot more difficult to make that network in order to get the shows. And like I remember when Book Your Own Fucking Life came out on Maximum Rock and Roll, it was like a game changer. And we'd already been touring for a couple of years when that came out, and we were kind of bummed, because we were like, now all these bands that have our numbers, all these bands have the same phone numbers we have now, that haven't really put in the work and kind of earned their stripes in order to be out on the road, or maybe they weren't ready to be on the road. And and I feel like with the internet and social media and whatnot, that's just kind of exacerbated. So, why it's good in a certain part, it also muddies the water and makes it, it makes it easier for bands to get out and play, which is good, but it also makes it harder for bands to differentiate themselves or to stick out and to, because there's just so much noise going on. So, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, we toured Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and Singapore in 2010, and I booked the whole thing on MySpace.
Oh, really?
Booked it on MySpace. Didn't talk to a single person, not a single email, not a single text.
Have you ever heard of MySpace?
Oh yeah. Oh, I was the king of MySpace back in the day. Yeah, I used to always change my background every 3 days because I was so excited to learn HTML. I'm like, oh hell yeah, Yep. Or put your favorite song on when people go to your page and all that kind of shit. But I remember when Pennywise released one of their records via MySpace. Like they signed a deal with MySpace Records for that one record, and that was crazy back in the day. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of crazy, and it does muddy the waters, right? Because everybody has all the same access, but at the same time, I mean, I know there's drawbacks and all that kind of stuff, but you're meeting connections, and you see all these bands in different parts of the country. All you got to do is message them now on Instagram. Say, hey, listen, I see you guys on the show. You need somebody else to hop on the bill or whatever. And it's like, hell yeah, it's so much easier, right? Like probably the positives outdo the negatives. I would assume. When it comes to booking shows and playing shows, right? Or no?
Yeah, so in August we're touring Europe with Pulley. How did that happen? I pinged Scott Radinsky on Instagram and I said, "Hey, dude, when are we playing a show together?" And the next thing I know, we're touring together, and we're going to do 2 weeks in Europe. So so that's the cool thing too about the technology and how bands can connect and do that kind of thing today. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that you pinged Scott, which is great. Pulley's amazing band. I love that band, and Seth at Negative Progression's doing some really good things with them. But you're right. I mean, like with me with the podcast and stuff, I started after the pandemic. I was like, during the pandemic, I was like, I have to do something, right? Like I have to get busy living or get busy dying kind of stuff. And I started this page just because I'm a huge fan or whatever, and developing relationships with bands and helping to promote bands and all that kind of stuff. But it's like some of these bands are like or some of my favorite bands. I just messaged them, hey, you want to be on the podcast? They're like, okay. And I'm like, well, that was fucking easy. Back in the day, it was like super hard to get somebody to because I was in radio for 10 years, like try to get somebody, on your radio show or whatever. And like, oh, it's at midnight. No, I don't want to go on that or whatever. It was so hard to get guests on our show because our show was on at midnight. But, the power of the internet, I'm here interviewing some of my favorite bands like Horace Pinker and, a lot of great other bands as well. It's really cool with technology and way you can connect with people. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good thing.
I hear your radio voice.
Yeah, you do have a radio voice.
Oh, do you? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it's many years of drinking and smoking that's that's attributed to it. Yeah. Cheers.
Sure.
But yeah, so let's talk about that tour with Pulley. So when is it going to be, and where are you guys playing with Pulley overseas? I know you guys are playing some of these big festivals over there. Let's talk about that. The shows over there.
Yeah, I mean we haven't been over to Europe. Well, you guys toured Europe without me.
So yeah, we got to tell you, Brian left us for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you do, Brian?
I moved to Australia. So
you moved to Australia?
Yeah. So I was in Australia for almost 4 years. So.
But he told us to keep playing because he was going to come back.
Really? But he didn't tell you, like, I'll be back in 4 years?
It was like 3 years.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah. So, yep. But yeah. So these guys toured Europe. What
2012?
2012.
Not me.
Okay.
Yeah. Don.
I mean,
I was in New York.
Yeah.
Don did all our early 2000s touring with us in Europe, and he was He was epic.
Yeah, I mean, we used to tour Europe almost every year. So I mean, it was just and back in the mid 90s, we would tour Europe multiple times a year. I mean, we would go over just to play a couple of festivals and then fly back. So been over there a lot. So it's definitely been a minute since we've been there. And so we're going back. We'll be there the first 2 weeks of August, like August 1st through August 16th. We're doing Punk Rock Holiday in Slovenia. We're playing Brack Rock in Belgium, and then we're going to end it playing Tells Bells in Germany. And then
awesome.
In between, and it just so happens Pulley is on all those festivals too. And so as Scott and I were trying to figure out, like, hey, let's do a couple of shows together. It just made sense to let's just do all the shows together. And because, we're all playing, all the bands over there are trying to play club shows in between all these festivals. And so we were just like, let's make it a double bill. And so Pulley was kind enough to bring us along for the ride. So,
I mean, even the first show is amazing. The first show is Horace Pinker, Suicide Machines, Drowns, and Pulley. I mean,
Jesus, what a stats! Yeah,
good show.
That's a Sunday matinee.
Yeah,
it's
a
really?
Day.
Yes, it's on a Sunday, like 4 PM.
Who goes on first?
We do, of course. Which is
Oh, do you? You guys get well. That's actually pretty good because you guys can play, get it out of your system, and then watch all the rest of the bands play, right? So, I mean, that's not bad, right? Or is that bad in your turn to be speaking of the band? But
we're just happy to be there, man. We're just humble and gracious and happy to be there.
These shows are going to be awesome. I mean, we don't when we go on.
Yep.
And what what are some of your favorite places that you guys played over the years? What are your favorite places in Europe that you've played over the years and hope to return to? Maybe not on this tour, but what are some of your favorite places that kind of stand out over the years?
Don, Greg?
Well, we did Brock Rock once before, and that was great.
Gross Rock.
Oh, wait, it's different.
Gross Rock in Belgium. Yep.
All right. See, I don't know anything.
Gross Rock's not around anymore, but Gross Rock was amazing. Yeah, we did Gross Rock a bunch of times. And, a few years ago.
I just like showing up, and you never know. You've never been in this city before, and it's just like that's the best part is just being in a new place that is so different.
You have no idea. I have no idea what's going on, what's around, where to get coffee, and all that kind of shit. Right?
It's easier to talk to people when you are the out of towner. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go around talking to people on the street in Chicago because.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. You just play the dumb tourist and just say, "Hey, listen, we can do this." And,
you guys,
Americans, have you ever seen European Vacation? It's like, the guy hits him with a bike and shit. He's like, "Oh, take it back to New York as a memento." Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever seen Vacation, but it was one of my favorite things. But so have you guys played England or in any of that kind of stuff, Ireland and all that kind of stuff?
Not Ireland.
Not Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, we did like an epic right before Grows Rock. We did this crazy show with Guttermouth and at the Astoria in London. That was pretty sweet. But I mean, mine will always be playing a hallway in a basement in Sweden in this small town when our show got canceled. And it was supposed to be a big show because we just put out our Fat Records 7-inch. And Fat Records is huge in Sweden. And they're like, "You're on Fat Records." We're like, "Well, we have a 7-inch on Fat Records." And they're like, "No, you're on Fat Records."
Your family.
Yeah. And then the show got canceled and they're like, "Well, we have a practice space in a basement." We played in the hallway. But that was one of my favorite shows ever in Europe. It was awesome.
It's like one of those it's like those small shows or whatever, those things that aren't planned makes it a hell of a lot better. It's a great story to tell, right? So it's like one of those things where, it's badass. It's a great story, right? You're telling it, years from
wanted to be down there watching us, and they went insane. Like there's a crazy pit in the basement hallway.
That's awesome. Now, how do you guys get around out there? I mean, I'm sure you guys have done it so much. My as somebody that has never toured overseas. I mean, I've been in the Navy overseas, but I've never been in a band and getting around and going to these different things. Do you have people over there to help you get around to these different venues? And how does that work for a band? So, if a band's watching this right now who's never toured, the UK or Belgium or the Netherlands or any of that kind of stuff. How do you guys get around and be able to know where you're going?
Well, normally you work with there's people over there, companies that specialize in this, so they'll make sure that you have a van, backline, driver, merchandise, that type of thing. So normally that's walk through. All right. So
he needs to get another beer. Get me one.
Yeah. Ford. Oh, okay.
Ford's getting another beer too.
Yep. So normally bands do that, but we did that back when we first started touring Europe in the early 90s. And then after we've been over there so many times, we just started driving ourselves. And so we would just rent a van and backline, and then we would just take turns driving. And so we're doing the same thing. And we had drivers in the early 2000s, but this time around, we're having a van get dropped off at the airport, and we're going to jump in it. We're going to drive ourselves, and we actually have a tour manager on this tour. His name is Dan Precision, and so he's going to play song and try to make us sound professional, and hopefully do some driving.
Also, they're going to drive me around because I can't drive stick.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Everything's stick over there, isn't it? Or no?
Two can drive stick.
Nobody wants us driving stick.
No, it's funny. Well, it's probably so much simpler, right? You don't have to. Well, I mean, I'm kind of, I'm probably as old as you guys are, but it's like, back in the day where you have to print out the Yahoo Maps and shit, and have like a 30-page thing of like how to get places and stuff. And even before that, before the internet and stuff, you had to, you had the Rand McNally, atlas and shit that you had to get around and stuff. And having a driver in those days is probably more worth it. But like, yeah, like you said, you're gonna get a van. You just put it in your GPS and then you're there, right? But it's just one of those things. I don't know, like tolls and all that kind of stuff and how all that works. And I don't know, or if they have tolls, but you guys make it work, and that's awesome. I guess that's what's all that matters.
Right? There's crazy.
They're expensive.
So you just got to make sure you got the right stickers. But yeah, so back then Scott was the Atlas guy. So I would be driving most of the time, and he would be in the passenger seat with 3 different maps, trying to figure out how the hell we get to some little German village that we can't pronounce, and everything's in German. So, but we made it happen somehow.
When all else fails, just find the train station.
Yep, go to the train station.
Also,
is that where it is?
Everything's around the train station. Yep.
Okay.
Also, good. Touring before the EU was a lot different too, because you had to go through every border.
Oh, all the border checkpoints.
Every border in Europe you had to cross.
Yeah. I could only imagine now. Is it harder nowadays? Because I hear, I interview a lot of other bands from the UK or whatever, and they try to come over here, but they have a lot of passport issues. I don't know if that's just because America is so effed up right now, as far as trying to allow people from other countries to come in. But is it difficult for Americans, with your passports to get to these different? Is it such a big hassle to get your gear and get your all your stuff and your passports together to go in these countries? Is it a pain in the ass, or is it pretty much
it's easy,
second nature?
It's easy. They everybody makes it so that it's a smooth kind of everything's smooth. Like they're super nice. You can rent gear. You rent the van. They've done it before. They're ready. The scene infrastructure, like literally in Europe, is way better than in the States or Canada. Yeah. It's awesome, and there's just more places to play and like more festivals and a little bit more appreciation.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like that way, right? Like from afar, it seems like Europe is where it's at. I know for American bands go over there and they just kill it, right? Because people in Europe love American bands and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, we love European bands too, and we want them to come over here and be able to do it. But there's just not so much. There's definitely a fault, in the U.S. as far as bands coming here and wanting to play. Have you guys played with a lot of bands from out of country here in the States at all, or no? I mean, because every band I've interviewed or talked to, I'm like, when are you coming to the States? They're like, well, because I know it's very costly and all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't make sense on paper, as far as financially to make it. But have you guys had a lot of bands that you've played with here in the States from out of country?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
we brought a band over, and it literally didn't work out. It's just like the shows fell apart. Like it wasn't their fault by any means. It was more our fault, but we had a booking agent do it, and it just wasn't awesome. We tried our hardest, but we've loved playing with our friends, around the world, but it's hard to reciprocate. Literally, like the tour we did with our friends from Holland, like it just it fell apart, and there was some bitterness, there was some acrimony, not on our part, but it was rough.
Yeah, I mean that was a long time ago, but we had toured France with them, with their band called NRA, and they're not around anymore, but I think they might be getting back together. I'm not sure. So we used to play a lot of shows with them in Europe, and we toured France with them, and No Fun at All from Sweden.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands. Yeah, absolutely.
So super nice guys, had a blast. That tour was amazing. And so we were like, come to the States. And so, we brought NRA to the States. Like Scott said, we had our booking agent set it up. He was setting it up while we were touring Australia and New Zealand. So we weren't that involved in it. And then when we came back, we realized that he kind of flaked on everything. And just a lot of shows just didn't happen. And, and so it was just bad. But, besides that, it's just, touring the U.S. is hard enough, for bands that live here. I being a small unknown band from overseas and coming over and having any sort of, monetarily successful adventure.
Well, I mean, one of the bands we toured with, though, like in the early 2000s, that was just amazing. One of my favorite bands to this day. I don't know if you know them, Fly Swatter. They never came here.
I work with Flory all the time. Me and Flory are boys. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean those are our good friends. We did multiple tours
them.
with those guys, and so we toured with. We did a lot of tours with German bands before that. At like a band like But Alive was a really big band in Germany in the 90s, but they sang in German. And people, they did come over for like a North American tour, I think, but like it was hard for them to break into North America because they sang in German, and they were an amazing. But Fly Swatter sang in English. English is better than ours, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, playing with those guys, I would have loved to have brought them over, but we had such a like bad experience. It was so tough to bring like financially to bring bands over. But I mean, like Fly Swatter are awesome. I mean, did you ever see them live?
No, I've never seen them live. No, I have not seen them live. I met them through, doing my Signal Chord stuff, and they had a song called Material that I really loved. And I was like, hell yeah. And they're like, so him and I are like, our birthdays apart same year. And like, we have like a lot in common kind of a deal. And, he sent me a whole bunch of shirts and shit or whatever. And never had the opportunity to interview him yet, but it's on the list. But him and I back and forth, my daughter now wears a Fly Swatter pink shirt that he gave me. And I'm like, I never wear a pink shirt. So I gave it to my daughter and she wears it now to school.
We did a bunch of shows with Fly Swatter and they were just great. And then we came back and we did shows with them again a few years later, and they had changed. Like they had 3 guitar players at one point. And when we saw them play with 3 guitar players,
it was heavy.
We were like, oh my God, we can't play it after that. This is ridiculous.
Right,
like, they were so good. Like they got a little heavier. Like, each album was different and they're all great albums. Man, those guys are awesome. I loved playing with those guys.
I actually, the last time I saw Flo, I was living in Australia and I flew to Munich for a client meeting and just, gave him a call.
You're losing your punk rock.
Oh, sorry. I squatted.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
So anyway, I was in Munich for work and just called him and we went out to dinner and had a great night. I was just like, it was just so good to catch up with him. But that's awesome. No, it's Flory and I for the past couple of years now, it's kept in communication, all that kind of stuff. But you're right, like every album's kind of different and all that kind of stuff, but they love that 90s, the grunge, and then they love the alternative and they love the punk, and it's like you never know what to expect with those guys, but it's really great. But I guess my question is like what do you think the issue is as far as bands from the UK or from Europe coming over here? What is the thing that's lacking in the States that could be better in order for because they have programs, like you were saying, you have a driver, you have this and that for bands, and they accommodate you over there in the UK. But like, is there any kind of stuff that happens here in the States that allows people from Europe to come and basically do that? They don't account. So when you play in Europe, part of the deal is that you show up, you do sound check, they feed you dinner, then you play the show, then you have a place to stay. People actually show up, so So there is some support there. There is a scene that supports bands, especially bands that aren't that well known, and then they give you a place to stay, and then they feed you breakfast, and then they send you on your way.
And unlimited beer.
Yeah.
Not like
really.
Oh yeah, boxes of beer, man. Our van, halfway through tour, you could barely get in our van because it was filled full of boxes of beer and juices. And so I mean, it's just you're treated, for lack of a better term, you're treated like a rock star, even though you're not a rock star. And but here in the States, no, they don't care. It's fuck you, man. Here's your 2 drink tickets. Go play, monkey. And
you got to sell your own tickets. You got to send your own tickets to the the venue or whatever, and they take a percentage of your merch and all that shit, right?
And then here's $15 and get out of here. No place to stay, no food, and it's just you just don't. They just don't do that here in the States. Never have, and that's why all the U.S. bands go over to Europe.
Yeah, and it makes sense, and I've always, and hear me out and humor me right now, because I have this brilliant idea that I'm telling you, and I'm sure if whoever watches this might gonna steal my idea, but my wife will never put it, she'll never approve of it. It'll probably never happen unless we hit the lottery, we have our own property and have the space for it. But my whole dream is to create an Airbnb for bands, right? So they would come into town, they would stay for free in this Airbnb, but they would like promote it or whatever, say, hey, we're staying here tonight, blah, blah, blah. And then you do a podcast in the morning or at night or whatever. That's my only catch, like interview bands and stuff or whatever. Feed you, send you on your way, kind of like they do in Europe, kind of stuff. And I'll pick you up from the airport or pick you up from all that kind of stuff. But I would love to have something on my property, like kind of like a, one of those like small tiny home kind of things where it's like racks. It's nothing like, crazy beds, like queen beds and king beds and shit. Like you're going to have like hot racks, you know what I mean? Like you're like a tour bus hot rack kind of stuff. But then, you'd be able to come in, you got a free place to stay, you promote it, all that kind of stuff. And I make money in advertising, and it's a win-win for you. You got a free place to stay and you promote it and all that kind of stuff. So that was like my ultimate dream, to be able to have bands from Europe or even from different parts of the state, you know what I mean, that want to play here. So that's my big grandiose idea. Tell me if it sucks. If it doesn't, whatever. But I'd like to hear your opinion.
Air free and B.
What's that?
You're welcome.
What'd you just say? What'd you call?
It's not worth.
It's not worth repeating.
Oh, okay. All right. Shit, totally missed it.
No, that's it. I mean, if you and 100 other people did that around the country, that'd be amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you do franchises though, right? So you get other people, people would be like, oh shit, he's doing that over and, whatever. Or you just buy property, you make amount of money in one, market, Orlando, and then you go up to Jacksonville, and then you go up to, Atlanta and all that kind of shit. And you just go up the East Coast and kind of do it. But I don't know. It's just a crazy dream, pipe dream.
We're supposed to play in Jacksonville, right? Are we playing in Jacksonville?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It hasn't been announced yet.
Oh, we're gonna announce it right now. We're playing in Jacksonville on that Tuesday,
shit,
before the pre-fest with
Okay,
Tide.
all right, what date is it? What date is that? Let me look at the calendar.
20th.
Yeah, I think it's 20th. Yep.
The 20th? Okay, the 20th in Jacksonville. Where at in Jacksonville?
I don't know yet. So
we don't know.
Yeah, they just asked. So literally today, they just asked us to play. So
awesome.
And I'm stoked because there's a band called Tides. And so we're going to be playing with them, and really, really good band. And they're playing Fest this year as well.
Tides? You talking about Tides?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're a great band out of Jacksonville. Yeah, I've worked with them in the past as well. I haven't worked with them in a while, but yeah, I know Tides as well. That's awesome. That's awesome as shit. All right, so let's talk about new music on the way. I know you guys are going to be really super busy this summer, kind of a deal. Is there any music coming on the way from you guys? You just released a record now in the future in 2025, so you're going to probably spend some time doing some touring and stuff. But what's the future look like for Horace Pinker as far as new music? Well,
we actually just went into the studio a couple of weeks ago and knocked out a couple of cover songs. We're adding one of them. So SBAM is going to release now in the future in Europe. And so as part of that, we did a different album cover. Same artist, JP. He just, it was an alt version that we didn't use. So we're using that for Europe. And then we swapped out the Doughboys cover with Husker Du cover. that
Nice.
that Scott was all amped about. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, what song from Husker Du?
So it's a lesser known song. Got inspired by the fact that we are most of our cities are being occupied by a bunch of thugs called ICE. So we covered their song "Ice Cold Ice."
Be able to hear those.
The record's going to be out for the European tour, so
okay.
So hopefully we'll have it when we get there. But I sent you a link to that folder, and that song is in there. So if you want to play that song on the podcast,
yeah, absolutely. I'll play it. I'll play it here after we get done talking about it for sure.
Sweet. And we have some songs that we have not released, and then we're gonna try to do a split with a band that we're excited about. Maybe by the end of the
year. Huh? What band? What band?
I don't know. Band we're playing with this summer, and maybe on a label. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
That's in your hometown, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
I don't know.
I talk to people here on my end. Yeah. We're well aware of the Horace Pinker, Orlando connection there.
Yeah, so. we're talking about a split. So with a band that we're going to be touring with. So,
but it's
yes, I already know, and I won't spoil it for everybody. But maybe after we get done recording, I'll see if it's the same thing that I'm thinking that you guys.
Yeah, we're writing new songs, and we're excited about it.
Sweet. Well, that's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing the podcast. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to let you guys go because I know you got an early morning to start this tour with Celebration Summer. But best of luck to you out on the road with those guys. Can't wait to see you in Orlando for Pre-Fest and at Fest. Anything you guys want to promote? Anything, website, any kind of stuff that you guys want to talk about before we take off? Ford, do you want to add anything to this, bud?
Website is in making. It's gonna be released in probably July.
He's been giving me a hard time because I haven't done a Horace Pinker website.
Yeah, because he's working on it.
I'm working.
Yeah, he's working on it, but not gonna release it.
Okay. All right. Are you the IT specialist for the website, or do you handle all the fan mail?
Ford's handling all of our social media.
Yes.
So.
Oh, is he? You're the one I've been talking to for the past 6 months. It's not Brian. You sure?
Ford's going to get our YouTube page in line because it's not doing well. So.
Okay. All right. Well, you got a big feat ahead of you. So good luck with that, and we're all counting on you for it. All right. Don't drop the ball.
That's right.
Well, guys, thank you so much once again. I really do appreciate it. If you guys need anything from here on out, happy to help you guys out, promote any song, video, all that good stuff. But thank you so much for taking your time with me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. And
cheers.
We'll see you in October.